Bro, honestly, all this video did was make me realize how much I miss SSF hardcore, where all of these vendors really matter. Hidden and secret vendors in classic World of Warcraft, all right? I've been playing this game my whole life. I feel like I should know these.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another video for you. Azeroth is a big place with lots of secrets to uncover, including hidden vendors. Some of them just serve as a convenient way to clear out your bags, and others hold expensive and rare patterns that can net you a pretty penny on the auction house.
Shade, thanks for the prime. All right, the Mythril Mechanical. I think I've purchased this from the auction house, but I never actually bought this one.
Categorizing what is a hidden vendor and what isn't is a bit tricky. For me, it's anyone that can't be found in a main town or questing hub. Just random NPCs located behind hostile territory or in the middle of nowhere. Nonetheless,
so this is one of the things that makes hardcore so fun, because you can't trade in hardcore. Okay, self-found hardcore, which, by the way, I really still believe that hardcore should be like, everyone should have to play self-found hardcore. I feel like it's just it makes the whole experience just like way better. Anyway, what I was gonna say was, in hardcore, all of these vendors actually matter. You have to go to vendors and buy things because you literally can't trade. But not just secret vendors and hidden vendors, but any vendor matters in self-found hardcore. Why? Because they sell greens. You can buy like really good green two-hander weapons, green shoulders, green legs, boots, whatever it is, off of these vendors out in the world. Keep in mind, in hardcore self-found, you can't trade. You can't use the auction house. So you can only do a dungeon one time in hardcore with the add-on rules. So it's like, how do you get good gear? Well, a lot of the times you go to vendors and buy them, right? Like other RPGs, you go to a vendor and buy them.
yes, I thought it would make for an interesting video to go over these for you, so let's get into it. So, not really in any particular order. First up, we have the Deice Profiteer.
Yeah.
Explorers of Moonbrook are rewarded with this vendor.
Yeah, so this vendor is known in hardcore because it gives you the stamina or agility boots, and it's right outside dead mines. So before you run dead mines, or if you're just around the area, which, by the way, this is a very dangerous area in hardcore, so you gotta be careful. But yeah, you can get some really good green boots. 4 stamina boots at level 13. Like, are you kidding me? Those are like super pre-bis, right? So it's like, you gotta farm those.
See some nice leather boots for the level, and also the alchemy recipe for the warrior's rage potion.
Oh.
Be wary though, as the inn is packed with plenty of bandits to stand in your way. Next, we have a rather popular one, and that's VL. This is an imp vendor who's especially important because he's needed for the quest chain for the epic warlock mount, the Dreadsteed. He sells the Elementium rod that they need for a quest, but also a few other items of note.
Oh, Fellcloth.
Some Grom's blood, and also some Fellcloth in limited stock. Just in case anyone is new, when you see a number in the top left of the icon, that means that there's only a limited amount that anyone can buy, so you have to be quick. These cost 80 silver each, and depending on your server, these could turn a profit. For mine, they go for around 2 gold, so it's something worth checking out if you happen to be in the area, or you want to park an alt there or something. The Grom's blood can also turn a profit, again depending on your server, so use your own judgment there. And next, we have one for all of you engineers out there.
Yep.
The Mythril Mechanical Dragon Ling is a handy trinket that serves as a
Bro, I don't know if you guys remember the CDL. It was the dueling tournament back in 2019 where everyone went so sweaty. It was by OTK. Was it before OTK was around? Might have been before OTK was around, but by the same guys, and it was like $50,000 on the line. We had to farm like everything that was BIS. Like everything, bro. Farmed Mythril Dragonling, and then there was like a second Dragonling. I think there was like a normal, then the Mythril, and you needed all these trinkets in the PvP tournament because you would use one in a duel and then it would die, and then you would like run away, leave combat, swap your trinkets, and use another. It was so nuts, man. Anyway, yeah, we farmed this.
Pet summon, but the only way to learn it is via a recipe. Hidden away in his little engineer hut in the hinterlands, you can find Ruppo Zipcoil, who sells this recipe for 40 silver. And right next to him is Gidget Zipcoil, who sells you the Iron Feather Shoulders recipe for leatherworkers. Something noteworthy for recipes in general is that even if you don't need them, Typically, you can earn some gold by reselling them on the auction house. There's a market for lazy people who don't want to make the trek out there,
for the record.
so it can be a nice and easy way to earn some extra gold on the side. Just park a level 1 alt near one, then fill up your bags once every few weeks, and send them over to your bank alt to sell. Speaking of Dragonlings though, next up we have the normal mechanical Dragonling schematic from Naz Blunderflame. You can find them hidden away here, just south of the Ogre Mound in the Stranglethorn Vale zone. Again, another good seller in the auction house here,
we had
if
both.
you go to the trouble of picking them up. As you can see, on my server, it's an average of 8 gold for a 1 gold investment. And right next to Naz Blunderflame is Naz Blunderflame, his brother. He sells another engineer schematic, this time for the deadly scope. Anyways though, next up we have Blistic, who can be found in the abandoned 2-story building.
Dude, the only thing that's annoying about this in modern gaming is there's bots. So every time there's a popular classic resurgence, whether it's hardcore, whether it's era, what ends up happening is the bots, it'll be gold bots or whatever, and they'll have a bunch of accounts there that automatically buy them right when the recipes spawn. And then they'll sell them on the auction house for a profit. So you can never actually get them unless you buy them from the bots. It's really annoying, you know? Whereas that never really happened back in the day because people didn't even know about them and there weren't as many bots. But now, like, there's people that literally just have 24/7 bots out. Not in SSF, but even on SSF hardcore, since SSF is an option, there's people that are botting the recipes anyway and then sell them on the auction house because SSF, remember, is only an option. So if you're SSF, you can't get the potions because there's bots buying them. It's so annoying.
Right here at Ravenhill. This guy's rather helpful for this level because he sells potions. Pretty beefy ones, in fact, so a handy tip is to always check for him when you're doing your questing here.
Yeah.
And for your alchemists out there, he also sells a recipe for the shadow oil. Another neutral vendor here is Broken, who can be found in the middle of nowhere atop this wall in the ruins of Altrak. Again, another handy vendor because he sells you some nice potions for the level, and also the frost oil recipe for alchemists once more. And since we're in the area, I may as well talk about Zixel. This guy is a bit less hidden as he patrols around a rather busy area.
I think I've done all of these so far.
He'll barter between South Shore and Terran Mill, and also take a pit stop at the ruined tower between the two towns. So, not the most hidden, but he's still rather important because he sells a buttload of crap.
Yeah.
A few belts for
all this is good in
casters out
hardcore,
there,
man.
some offhand orbs, an enchanting recipe for 1 agility to boots, and the pattern for the 8-slot red woolen bag, earth and leather shoulders pattern for leatherworkers, and most importantly, the goblin jumper cable schematics for engineers. Oftentimes, he'll be out of stock on the cables specifically, since it's a rather popular item for engineers, so it might take a few tries. And another handy one is Chris Legace, who can be found a bit to the east, just outside the northern wall of the Durnhold Keep. Any rogues, hunters, or druids will definitely want to pay her a visit, as she sells some really nice agility and stamina gear.
Yep.
And with Durnhold being a semi-popular...
So I knew a lot of these low-level ones because in Sod Core, it was SSF, we couldn't trade. We had to go to all of these vendors in the game to get the best in slot gear for our Sod Core run with Rav, if you guys remember. And we ended up owning. It was a good time. But yeah, these vendors were clutch. When you can't trade, these are some of the best in slot items in the game when you can't trade, you know?
Popular farming spot. It's just a quick and easy way to empty your bags without having to backtrack all the way to town. Heading even further east though, for the Horde only, we have George Kendart. Again, just handy for offloading your vendor trash, but any leather workers out there will want to grab the green leather armor pattern. The armor itself is kind of crappy, but it's used as a reagent for the not crappy green iron hauberk, so it still fetches a pretty penny on the auction house, especially since he's rather out of the way and not a lot of people know about him.
Yeah, I don't know
For
if I knew
state
about that one.
levelers, we'll also require the assistance of super out of the way vendors. Well, not so much for the Horde, as you just buy them from an NPC named Balai, who can be found in the questing hub, Brackenwall Village, in the Dustwalla Marsh. But for the Alliance, it's a little more out of the way. You need to head to the Stromgard Keep in the Arathi Highlands and find the NPC, Deneb Walker. When heading into the keep, just keep taking rights at every fork in the road, as you see here, and he'll be tucked away in this garden. He sells you the book to learn first aid up to 225, and also the recipes for the heavy silk and mageweave bandages. He also sells a bunch of reagents, some low-level potions considering the zone, and also some stat scrolls. One
Alright.
of the more important vendors in the game for sure. And next we have a couple more Alliance only. Located right here in the middle of nowhere in the wetlands.
Yeah, I
you'll
don't know
find
if
a
I know about
couple.
this one.
Frad Swiftgear, who sells a couple of engineer patterns,
Yeah, I've never been here,
the
I don't
minor
think.
recombobulator, and the lovingly crafted boomstick, as well as other engineer supplies. The Gerochranatum is used for a quest in the Badlands, so this has some resale potential. But heading inside the nearby house, you'll find Wenna Silkbeard. She's sort of the equivalent of George Candard for the Alliance. She also sells the green leather armor pattern for leatherworkers, as well as the red whelp gloves.
Yeah, I
You
never
can
knew
also
about this
buy
one.
the Azure silk gloves for tailors. Some
Ah,
nice
that's
leveling
where
gloves
that's
for
from.
mages here. And you also have a bunch of armor. Some of them are good, some of them are crappy. Just pause the video if you need to here. These shoulders are rather nice, since green ones are quite rare at level 25, and with strength and stamina no less.
Yeah.
I wonder what Joe would have to say about these. If she's out of stock though, no worries because you do have a second chance. It's just in a trickier spot. In the northern edge of the zone
These
is
are all
the
elites, right?
elite-infested Dunmodir,
Yeah.
and inside the inn to the left near the back of the compound, and going inside and looking behind the bar, you'll find the Dark Iron Entrepreneur. He sells a nice selection of green items, including the same shoulders, some nice
It's a good
pants,
axe.
and some decent one-handers, which may or may not be worth it for you. And even some heavy dynamite if you need some AoE damage on the fly.
I know I sound like a broken record here, man, but like in solo self-found, this is everything, bro. You run up to a vendor in like a scary zone and you buy, this axe. There's only one of them for 2 gold, which isn't cheap, and you have to get there before someone else does. Like it's just such a thrill. It makes you play WoW in such a different way. And when you get that axe, like your character's just like way stronger. It feels like such a traditional RPG in that way. It's really nice.
Heading on over to Desolus though, we have a couple more secret vendors. The Superseller 680 and the Vendortron 1000. These ones are kind of tricky because they're timed to an escort event. There's a caravan that periodically runs from this location to the south to this little hub in the north. When it's in the south, the Superseller 680 will spawn with it, and when it arrives in the north, the Vendortron 1000 will spawn. The 680 sells you a crazy amount of stuff. The recipes for the accurate scope, jumper cables, and ice deflector for engineers, a bunch of cooking recipes, including the Dragon Breath chili, which is quite popular. This gives you a chance to breathe fire on enemies for some extra damage.
I didn't know
You
you
also
bought
have
that there.
3 tailor recipes. Enchanter's Cowl, which is nice because it's a green level 28 head, which is rare at that level. And also the Dark Silk Shirt and the Crimson Silk Cloak. As for the Vendortron, this sells you a bunch more cooking recipes and some handy potions for the level. Here's a rather interesting vendor though, and that's Augustus the Touched. You can find him tucked away southwest of Stratholme, located in this house inside of Terrordale. To open him up as a vendor, you have to first retrieve his recipe book from the nearby inn.
I never knew
Once
this.
you do, you gain the ability to sell stuff to him,
Okay.
and also buy the Mystery Box. This costs 8 gold and has a random level
Okay,
50
I never
to
knew about
55-ish
this.
green inside, and it's typically not worth it, and you'll net yourself a loss most of the time,
Okay,
unless you get
that's
lucky
why I
with the
don't know
auction
about
house
it.
or something. He's still a handy vendor if you forgot to clear bags on the way to Stratholme though.
Okay.
Cowardly Crosby is also a pretty important vendor because he sells part of the pirate cosplay set. Just south of Booty Bay, you can find him in the southernmost Bloodsill Buccaneer camp, and he sells you the pattern for the Admiral's hat.
That's pretty rare, yeah.
And no need to worry about reputation. He's a coward after all, and will interact with you no matter how much his faction hates you. And next up, we have one located in the Swamp of Sorrows. Being an already out-of-the-way zone, this is a vendor that few people know about, but here you can find Masat Tander. He's rather important though, because he sells the Green Dragon Scale breastplate recipe for leatherworkers, as well as a couple of beefy stamina cloaks. I believe these are decent starter cloaks for twinks in the 30 to 39 bracket. I don't know a lot about that though, since I'm not into the twinking scene, both in-game and in real life.
You had to go there.
On that awkward
season,
note
really?
though, I
Okay.
think we'll call it a video there. Kind of random, I know, but throughout my leveling, I've run into a bunch of these secret vendors, and I just thought it was interesting to share, I guess. I forgot just how many there are, and this video is just scratching the surface. I could definitely return to this in the future if you guys would like that, so just let me know. I hope you found the video helpful.
Bro, honestly, all this video did was make me realize how much I miss SSF hardcore, where all of these vendors really matter. Every single one matters. It's not like when you play normal WoW, it doesn't, I mean, you can just buy them from someone else for like a slightly higher rate. It doesn't really matter. But when you play SSF, these vendors matter, bro. So anyway, SSF only hardcore server soon, Blizzard, Poggers, October hype. All right, that's good.